time to let go of the person you were, the one that lived in the past, the one that clung to what was comfortable, what was familiar, even if it wasn't helping you grow. That version of you, the one who believed their worth was tied to their mistakes, their failures, their shortcomings, needs to be left behind. It's time to release the weight of everything that's been holding you back. All the doubts, all the fears, all the pain, all the disappointment. It's not who you are. It was just something that happened to you, but it doesn't define you anymore. You've been carrying that baggage for so long. Maybe you even convinced yourself that it was part of you, that the failures were yours to bear, that the pain was yours to hold. But let me tell you something. It was never yours. It was a lesson, maybe a tough one, but it wasn't meant to be a lifelong sentence. Let it go. Let it fade away into the background where it belongs. You don't need it anymore. What you need now is to focus on who you're becoming, not who you were, not who they wanted you to be. You, the real, authentic version of yourself that's been buried beneath layers of fear, pain, and self-doubt. Think about it. How many times have you held yourself back because you believed you weren't worthy? How many opportunities have you missed because you were still looking in the rearview mirror at a version of yourself that no longer fits who you want to become? You've held on to the story of your past, but that story is old. It's outdated, and it's not the one that's going to take you where you need to go. If you want to grow, if you want to change, if you want to build a future that's truly yours, you need to let go of the weight that's been dragging you down. It's not easy. No one said it would be. But you have the power to do this. You have the strength to rise above your past. All the hurt, all the regret, all the doubts, they don't have to be part of your narrative anymore. The person who made mistakes is not who you are today. The person who felt lost, who was uncertain, who didn't know what their next step would be. That person has nothing to do with who you are becoming. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are not the things people have said about you. You are not what you've been through. You are the potential within you, the strength that comes from overcoming, the wisdom that comes from learning, the resilience that comes from fighting back. Every step you take forward is a step away from who you used to be. And with every step, you leave behind the old version of you, the one that doubted herself, the one that allowed the opinions of others to dictate her path. The person you were, they don't matter anymore. The person you are becoming is the one that's worth focusing on. It's time to stop thinking about who you used to be. Let go of that old self, the one that was afraid to take risks, the one that hesitated when opportunities knocked, the version of you that played small because it was easier, because it was safer. You don't need to be safe anymore. You don't need to play small. You need to take up space in this world. You need to let yourself expand into who you are meant to be. Who are you meant to be? That's the question, isn't it? Who are you without the weight of your past? Who are you without the judgment and the regret? Who are you when you no longer let the fear of what might go wrong stop you from doing what you were always meant to do? The answer is right there. inside of you. It's the part of you that believes in possibilities, the part of you that knows you're capable of greatness. It's the fire that's been flickering in your chest, waiting for you to feed it. It's the voice in your head that whispers, "You can do this," even when everyone else is doubting you. That's who you're meant to be. The person who walks through fear, who faces uncertainty and says, "I am ready." The past, it was just preparation. It was never punishment. It was the lesson you needed to get where you are now. And now, it's time to step into your power. It's time to let go of the person who stayed silent, who held herself back. It's time to embrace the person who steps up, who speaks her truth, who claims her place in the world. No more holding back. No more playing small. No more doubting yourself. You are everything you need to be right now. All the answers are inside of you, waiting for you to trust them. Let go of who you were and step into who you are meant to be. It's waiting for you, just on the other side of your fear. So ask yourself, what are you going to do with this moment? Are you going to hold on to the past and keep looking back? Or are you going to move forward, step into your true self, and become the person you've always been meant to be? The choice is yours. And when you make that decision, when you decide to let go of who you were, you'll find something incredible waiting for you. You'll find a sense of peace that comes from knowing you're living as the truest version of yourself. You'll find confidence in every step, knowing that you're no longer weighed down by the past. And you'll find power, the power to create the life you want, the life you deserve. This is your time, the time to step into your greatness. The time to stop looking back. The time to embrace who you truly are. The time to let go of everything that's been holding you back and to finally claim your future. Because the person you were was just a version of you. The person you're meant to be. She's the one who's unstoppable. She's the one who's going to make it happen. You've come so far, haven't you? Even if it doesn't feel like it, you're not the same person you were yesterday, or the day before, or the year before that. Growth is subtle, and often we don't notice it until we stop and reflect. So take a moment. Think about everything you've survived, every obstacle that felt insurmountable, every heartbreak, every failure. You're still here. You made it through. And if that doesn't prove your strength, what does? There's a fire within you, burning brighter than you realize. It's what keeps you going, even when things feel impossible. It's what pushes you to try again, to hope again, to believe again. That fire, it's you. It's the real you. The one who refuses to give up, no matter how hard life gets. But sometimes, that fire gets buried beneath layers of self-doubt, fear, and the expectations of others. And it's up to you to uncover it, to let it burn freely. To do that, you have to release the version of yourself that's no longer serving you. The one that second-guesses every decision. The one that apologizes for taking up space. The one that looks in the mirror and sees only flaws. That version of you isn't real. It's a shadow, a reflection of the doubts and fears that have been planted in you over time. But shadows can't hold you back unless you let them. You have to remember that who you were was just a starting point, not a destination. You weren't meant to stay the same forever. Life is about evolution, about transformation. Think about a seed. It doesn't stay a seed forever. It cracks open, it pushes through the dirt, and it grows into something beautiful, something strong. That's you. You're in the process of breaking through the dirt, of reaching toward the light. And yes, it's messy. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Letting go of who you were isn't about rejecting yourself. It's about embracing the fact that you're constantly growing, constantly learning. It's about giving yourself permission to change, to evolve, to become. You're allowed to outgrow old habits. You're allowed to leave behind the people and situations that no longer align with who you are. You're allowed to say, "This isn't me anymore," and move on. But to do that, you have to trust yourself. Trust that the person you're becoming knows what she's doing. Trust that your instincts, your dreams, your desires are leading you in the right direction. Trust that even if you stumble, even if you fall, you'll get back up again. Because you've done it before, haven't you? You've picked yourself up, dusted yourself off, and kept going. And you can do it again. This journey, this transformation, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about taking one step at a time, even when the path isn't clear. It's about believing in yourself, even when no one else does. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, "I am enough," even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. And here's the truth. You are enough, just as you are, right now, in this moment. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep going, keep growing, keep becoming. Let go of the guilt, let go of the shame, let go of the what ifs and the should haves. They don't define you. They're not who you are. You are more than your past. You are more than your mistakes. You are more than the doubts that try to hold you back. You are capable of so much more than you realize. You have the power to create the life you want, to become the person you've always dreamed of being. But to do that, you have to let go of the person who keeps telling you you can't. That voice in your head, the one that whispers all the reasons you'll fail. It's lying. It's scared. It doesn't want you to step out of your comfort zone because it doesn't know what's on the other side. But you know, deep down, you know, on the other side of fear is freedom. On the other side of doubt is belief. On the other side of the old you is the new you, waiting to emerge. You've carried so much for so long. Expectations, regrets, fears, and hopes that didn't quite fit the life you envisioned. It's heavy, isn't it? And yet, you've borne that weight because you believed you had to. But here's something you might not have considered. What if you didn't? What if you could set it all down, right here, right now? What if letting go wasn't a sign of weakness, but a declaration of strength? Imagine the freedom of standing tall, unburdened by the stories that no longer serve you. The freedom to rewrite your narrative, to take control of the pen and create a future that feels authentically yours. That freedom is waiting for you. It's been there all along, just beyond the walls you've built around yourself. And those walls, they aren't as solid as they seem. They're made of doubts, fears, and the echoes of voices that never truly understood you. But you understand you. You've always known what you need, even when you've been afraid to admit it. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the struggle itself, but the decision to start anew. It's looking at the old you, the one who played small, the one who compromised too much, the one who forgot how to dream, and saying, "Thank you for getting me this far. But now, I need to move on." That's not abandonment. It's evolution. It's honoring the journey while acknowledging that it's time for a new chapter. And in this chapter, you get to choose. You get to decide who you want to be, how you want to show up, and what you're willing to fight for. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need their validation. The only person you need to convince is yourself. And you can do it, can't you? You've already overcome so much, weathered storms that felt unending, and come out stronger on the other side. You've proven to yourself time and time again that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. Now is the time to remind yourself of that strength. Talk to yourself, not with criticism, but with compassion. Not with judgment, but with understanding. When you feel doubt creeping in, answer it with kindness. When fear whispers that you're not enough, shout back with courage. You've been your own worst critic for far too long. It's time to become your own greatest ally. Picture the person you want to be, not some perfect, unattainable ideal, but the truest version of yourself. What does that person look like? How do they carry themselves? How do they treat others? And more importantly, how do they treat themselves? That person isn't a stranger. They're you, waiting to be realized. They're already within you, beneath the layers of self-doubt and hesitation. All you have to do is let them out. Every day, you have a choice. You can hold on to the past, the mistakes, the missed opportunities, the versions of yourself that no longer fit. Or you can let go. You can step forward, even if the path isn't clear, even if the ground feels unsteady. Because stepping forward isn't about knowing exactly where you're going. It's about trusting that you'll figure it out along the way. It's about believing in your ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow. There's a quiet power in that belief. It's not loud or flashy. It doesn't demand attention, but it's steady, unshakable, and real. And it's yours. It's the power to take risks, to dream bigger than you ever have before, to embrace the unknown with open arms. It's the power to say, "I deserve more," and to go after it with everything you've got. So, what's holding you back? Fear, doubt, the opinions of others. None of those things have the power to stop you unless you let them. They're just shadows, illusions that disappear the moment you step into the light. And you are the light. You've always been the light. You've just forgotten how brightly you can shine. Remember this. The old you was necessary. They carried you to this moment, gave you the tools you needed to survive. But the new you, they're ready to thrive. They're ready to take everything you've learned, everything you've endured, and use it to build something beautiful. They're ready to step into their power, to claim their place in the world, to live a life that feels honest and whole. Letting go isn't easy. It takes courage. It takes vulnerability. It takes a willingness to face the unknown and say, I'm ready. But you are ready. You've been ready for longer than you realize. So take the leap. Trust yourself. Believe in the person you're becoming. Because that person, they're extraordinary. They're everything you've ever dreamed of being, and more. And they're waiting for you to step into the light. So take a deep breath. Look forward, not back. See the possibilities, not the limitations. And take that first step. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. Because this is your journey, your transformation, your chance to become who you were always meant to be. Let go, step forward, and never look back. The best is yet to come.